A bicycle, often called a bike or cycle, is a human-powered, pedal-driven, single-track vehicle, having two wheels attached to a frame, one behind the other. A bicycle rider is called a cyclist, or bicyclist. Bicycles were introduced in the 19th century in Europe, and as of 2003, more than 1 billion have been produced worldwide, twice as many as the number of automobiles that have been produced. They are the principal means of transportation in many regions. They also provide a popular form of recreation, and have been adapted for use as children's toys, general fitness, military and police applications, courier services, and bicycle racing. The basic shape and configuration of a typical upright, or safety bicycle, has changed little since the first chain-driven model was developed around 1885, but many details have been improved, especially since the advent of modern materials and computer-aided design. These have allowed for a proliferation of specialized designs for many types of cycling. The bicycle's invention has had an enormous effect on society, both in terms of culture and of advancing modern industrial methods. Several components that eventually played a key role in the development of the automobile were initially invented for use in the bicycle, including ball bearings, pneumatic tires, chain-driven sprockets, and tension-spoked wheels. Etymology. The word bicycle first appeared in English print in the Daily News in 1868, to describe bicycles and tricycles, on the Champs-Élysées and Bois de Boulogne. The word was first used in 1847 in a French publication to describe an unidentified two-wheeled vehicle, possibly a carriage. The design of the bicycle was an advance on the velocipede, although the words were used with some degree of overlap for a time. Other words for bicycle include bike, pushbike, pedal cycle, or cycle. In Unicode, the code point for bicycle is 0x1F6B2. The entity in #X1F6B2 in HTML produces bike history. The dandy horse, also called Draisienne or Laufmaschine, was the first human means of transport to use only two wheels in tandem and was invented by the German Baron Karl von Drais. It is regarded as the modern bicycle's forerunner. Drais introduced it to the public in Mannheim in summer 1817 and in Paris in 1818. Its rider sat astride a wooden frame supported by two inline wheels and pushed the vehicle along with her feet while steering the front wheel. The first mechanically propelled, two-wheeled vehicle may have been built by Kirkpatrick Macmillan, a Scottish blacksmith, in 1839. Although the claim is often disputed, he is also associated with the first recorded instance of a cycling traffic offence, when a Glasgow newspaper in 1842 reported an accident in which an anonymous gentleman from Dumfriesshire, bestride a velocipede of ingenious design, knocked over a little girl in Glasgow and was fined 5 shillings. In the early 1860s, Frenchmen Pierre Michaud and Pierre Lallement took bicycle design in a new direction by adding a mechanical crank drive with pedals on an enlarged front wheel. Another French inventor named Douglas Grasso had a failed prototype of Pierre Lallement's bicycle several years earlier. Several inventions followed using rear-wheel drive, the best known being the rod-driven velocipede by Scotsman Thomas McCall in 1869. In that same year, bicycle wheels with wire spokes were patented by Eugene Meyer of Paris. The French velocipede, made of iron and wood, developed into the penny farthing. It featured a tubular steel frame on which were mounted wire-spoked wheels with solid rubber tires. These bicycles were difficult to ride due to their high seat and poor weight distribution. In 1868, Raleigh Turner, a sales agent of the Coventry Sewing Machine Company, brought a Michaud's cycle to Coventry, England. His uncle, Josiah Turner, and business partner James Starley, used this as a basis for the Coventry model, in what became Britain's first cycle factory. The Dwarf Ordinary addressed some of these faults by reducing the front wheel diameter and setting the seat further back. This, in turn, required gearing, affected in a variety of ways, to efficiently use pedal power. Having to both pedal and steer via the front wheel remained a problem. J.K. Starley, H. Lawson, and Shergold solved this problem by introducing the chain drive, connecting the frame-mounted cranks to the rear wheel. These models were known as safety bicycles, dwarf safeties, or upright bicycles for their lower seat height and better weight distribution. Although without pneumatic tires, the ride of the smaller-wheeled bicycle would be much rougher than that of the larger-wheeled variety. Starley's 1885 Rover, manufactured in Coventry, is usually described as the first recognizably modern bicycle. Soon the seat tube was added, creating the modern bike's double triangle diamond frame. Further innovations increased comfort and ushered in a second bicycle craze, the 1890s golden age of bicycles. In 1888, Scotsman John Boyd Dunlop introduced the first practical pneumatic tire, which soon became universal. Soon after, the rear freewheel was developed, enabling the rider to coast. This refinement led to the 1890s invention of coaster brakes. Derriere gears and hand-operated Bowden cable pull brakes were also developed during these years, but were only slowly adopted by casual riders. By the turn of the century, cycling clubs flourished on both sides of the Atlantic, and touring and racing became widely popular. Bicycles and horse buggies were the two mainstays of private transportation just prior to the automobile, and the grading of smooth roads in the late 19th century was stimulated by the widespread advertising, production, and use of these devices. Women on bicycles on unpaved road, USA, late 19th century. A penny farthing or ordinary bicycle photographed in the Škoda Auto Museum in the Czech Republic. Bicycle in Plymouth, England at the start of the 20th century. Uses. From the beginning and still today, bicycles have been and are employed for many uses. In a utilitarian way, bicycles are used for transportation, bicycle commuting, and utility cycling. It can be used as a workhorse, used by mail carriers, paramedics, police, messengers, and general delivery services. Military uses of bicycles include communications, reconnaissance, troop movement, supply of provisions, and patrol. See also bicycle infantry. The bicycle is also used for recreational purposes, such as bicycle touring, mountain biking, physical fitness, and play. Bicycle competition includes racing, BMX racing, track racing, criterium, roller racing, sportives and time trials. Major multi-stage professional events are the Tour of California, Giro d'Italia, the Tour de France, the Vuelta a España, and the Volta a Portugal. Bikes can be used for entertainment and pleasure, such as in organized mass rides, artistic cycling and freestyle BMX. Technical aspects. The bicycle has undergone continual adaptation and improvement since its inception. These innovations have continued with the advent of modern materials and computer-aided design, allowing for a proliferation of specialized bicycle types. Bicycles can be categorized in many different ways. By function, by number of riders, by general construction, by gearing or by means of propulsion. The more common types include utility bicycles, mountain bicycles, racing bicycles, touring bicycles, hybrid bicycles, cruiser bicycles, and BMX bikes. Less common are tandems, lowriders, tall bikes, fixed gear, folding models, amphibious bicycles and recumbents. Unicycles, tricycles and quadricycles are not strictly bicycles, as they have respectively 1, 3 and 4 wheels, but are often referred to informally as bikes. Dynamics. A bicycle stays upright while moving forward by being steered so as to keep its center of mass over the wheels. This steering is usually provided by the rider, but under certain conditions may be provided by the bicycle itself. The combined center of mass of the bicycle and its rider must lean into a turn to successfully navigate it. This lean is induced by a method known as countersteering. which can be performed by the rider turning the handlebars directly with the hands or indirectly by leaning the bicycle. Short wheelbase or tall bicycles, when braking, can generate enough stopping force at the front wheel to flip longitudinally. The act of purposefully using this force to lift the rear wheel and balance on the front without tipping over is a trick known as a stoppie, endo, or front wheelie. Performance. The bicycle is extraordinarily efficient in both biological and mechanical terms. The bicycle is the most efficient human-powered means of transportation in terms of energy a person must expend to travel a given distance. From a mechanical viewpoint, up to 99% of the energy delivered by the rider into the pedals is transmitted to the wheels, although the use of gearing mechanisms may reduce this by 10 to 15%. In terms of the ratio of cargo weight a bicycle can carry to total weight, it is also an efficient means of cargo transportation. A human traveling on a bicycle at low to medium speeds of around 16 to 24 km per hour uses only the energy required to walk. Air drag, which is proportional to the square of speed, requires dramatically higher power outputs as speeds increase. If the rider is sitting upright, the rider's body creates about 75% of the total drag of the bicycle-rider combination. Drag can be reduced by seating the rider in a more aerodynamically streamlined position. Drag can also be reduced by covering the bicycle with an aerodynamic fairing. The fastest unpaced speed on a flat surface is 133.78 km per hour. In addition, the carbon dioxide generated in the production and transportation of the food required by the bicyclist, per mile traveled, is less than 1/10 that generated by energy-efficient cars.